Module 7, Relational Summary, Lecture GNP1, Courage in the Defense of Science. At our best, we use science and logic to make decisions, particularly those involving life and death and our fate. And as the science changes, rational people use the new data and the theories that emerge from it to make more informed decisions. Unfortunately, even as our science and the technology that permits it advances, we seem to be in retrograde motion about its application. A good example of this is the debate over climate solutions. For several decades now, pundits of renewable energy and pundits of nuclear energy have duked it out over which energy sources have the greatest potential to halt global warming trends. Recently, though, a study has come out giving strong data support to the notion that nuclear was never a good option, purely from a carbon drawdown perspective. The article was published in the esteemed journal Nature, and it's called, quote, "Differences in Carbon Emissions Reduction Between Countries Pursuing Renewable Electricity versus Nuclear Power," end quote. The abstract tells us, quote, "Two of the most widely emphasized contenders for carbon emissions reduction in the electricity sector are nuclear power and renewable energy. While scenarios regularly question the potential impacts of adoptions of various technology mixes in the future, it is less clear which technology has been associated with greater historical emission reductions. Here, we use multiple regression analyses on global data sets of national carbon emissions and renewable and nuclear electricity production across 123 countries over 25 years to examine systematically patterns in how countries variously using nuclear power and renewables contrastingly show higher or lower carbon emissions. We find that larger scale national nuclear attachments do not tend to associate with significantly lower carbon emissions, while renewables do. We also find a negative association between the scales of national nuclear and renewables attachments. And this suggests nuclear and renewable attachments tend to crowd each other out. Now, since they crowd each other out, and the evidence has been piling up for decades, why wouldn't we have gone all in for renewables long ago? Why won't we go all in now? Well, you know, politics. And the politics of the North are among the most powerful. When I was growing up, it seemed no matter where I went in the world, no matter how far south I traveled to sun-washed island and desert nations, ideas about the feasibility of renewable energy were always based on political and economic and feasibility assumptions coming from media in the North. If the northern institutions and scientific and economic papers and media outlets declared the costs higher than the perceived benefits, for them, we all listened.